Hey everyone, hope you're doing well and having a good week, enjoying some spring weather that we're getting here. Hopefully you've been able to get outside and enjoy the sunshine. This week we're continuing kind of our journey, our look at different books of the Bible that we may know the names of and we may know a little bit about it, but a lot of the books are maybe lost on us a little bit. Today and this week we're going to be looking at two books because they're very similar and their stories kind of overlap at the same time a little bit, not completely. But they're the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. Ezra and Nehemiah are stories about Jewish exiles who returned home from Babylon to basically restore Israel in the city of Jerusalem. They're each two different stories and they happen around the same time, not the exact same time, but they have pretty similar arcs to the story about how they come back, what work they do, what they need to do to restore Jerusalem and Israel. And so there's really kind of five. You can read the blog this week and get kind of the whole picture of those two books and a little bit more. But I wanted to touch on kind of five really key points that happen in those two books, or five themes, if you will, and really kind of what they mean to us in our current day, in our current life situation. We're kind of looking for a return to normalcy or kind of some sort of restoration to our life. And we want to know what that looks like and maybe, how is God working in all of this? And not that Ezra and Nehemiah have all the answers to our current situation, but they do kind of offer some helpful tips really to what it looks like to return to something or for something to be restored. And so these are the five things that I touch on in the blog this week. And one is that the restoration work is done by God. God is at work, whether we see it or not, in all of this. And so to recognize that is really key to those books, is that God is at work and He's making this happen. The second point is that restoration oftentimes looks very different. So being restored in Israel, right, it looked different from when the first time that the Jews had left Israel. And so the restorative work is restorative to the Jews, but yet it's not the same. There's something different. And I think we're all going to kind of realize that, is that when we go back to normal life, that it'll be different than what we knew before. The third thing is that God is working behind the scenes. Kind of similar to the first point, that we don't often see God at work. Sometimes it's hard to see how God is at work when we think of those in control of the world, right? But God is at work. And so how is He at work? Where is He at work? But to know that yes, indeed, God is at work. The fourth thing is that restoration is not easy, okay? And both in Ezra and Nehemiah, both of their projects, both of the restorative acts of Jerusalem were met with challenges at nearly every turn. And so they had to deal with those challenges, but ultimately they overcome them. So that's kind of the fourth point, is that a return and restoration present challenges, and that's okay. And then the fifth thing is, I think we all kind of need this today too, is just a constant reminder of God and His covenant with us. Once Jerusalem was restored and Ezra and Nehemiah had kind of done their work, there was still something needed. There was still a relationship with God that was needed. It wasn't, okay, God's helped us back and now we're good. It was a reminder that no, now the city has been restored, but our relationship with Him needs to be restored on a continuous basis. And so that's kind of the last point. You can read more about that in the blog this week, and there's some discussion questions on there as well. And then the movie this week is Interstellar. It is somewhat of a space movie. It's about kind of what our world may look like in the future. And basically what I want you guys to kind of focus in on is the main character's name is Cooper, or Coop, they often refer to him as. And what I want you to look at is his relationship with his two kids. Okay, he has a daughter named Murph and a son named Tom. And what does that relationship look like? How does it develop? Ultimately, there are some very similar ideas and themes that kind of place Cooper, or Coop the dad, as kind of this figure of salvation, of redemption. What does he do in the movie to basically save his children or save his family? How is their relationship changed by the actions that he goes through? And ultimately, he chooses to try to save his family by almost giving up his life. And so how is that similar to our relationship with God and Jesus? Look for that in the movie. There are different turning points as Coop, makes different decisions that affect his relationship with his kids. And his kids relate to him differently, right? His daughter and his son don't view him the same way as each other. And so look for that and just kind of the parallels between your relationship and God this week. So hope you have a good week. We'll see you soon.